Now, Eyewitness Sports.
Welcome to the latest episode of Double OT with Yianni and Mark. Mark, good to see you back in the house. You were in Cleveland last time.
That's correct.
Which had one of our, maybe our first blooper for this. Well, there's been many bloopers,
well, I wouldn't
but
call
you
it a
got
blooper.
kicked out, right?
I got removed from my spot. I knew it was dicey. I knew it was risky, but we tried to pull it off. We got a couple topics in, but the guy came behind me. I was trying to ignore him.
Was he polite or was he mad?
Okay. I didn't want to deal with it.
Plenty to get to. We're talking Patriots, Red Sox, Bruins, college basketball, a little Shaq and Donald Trump, among other things. Let's start with the big story Sunday. Brady's Homecoming, we're branding it as. Have you heard? Hashtag Brady Homecoming. Yeah. How do you think, what are your expectations for what Gillette will look like? You'll be there Sunday. Let's have a kid, so what do you think?
Well, first of all, I think it'll be electric. Obviously, Tom Brady back in Gillette Stadium after the suspension. People are salivating, Patriots fans getting ready to welcome back their favorite player for the most part. So, yeah, it's going to be electric. It's going to be loud. Brady will be obviously excited for the moment, to say the least. He'll come jolting out of the tunnel, yelling, screaming, and then everyone will settle down and he'll play great. He always plays great. That's what Tom Brady does. He plays great. So whether or not he's going to come back from suspension, it's his first game back, it's his last game, it's in the middle of his, he's going to play great, and I think the fans will cheer loud.
Yeah, it's going to be electric. As Brady once said, make sure everyone gets lubed up beforehand.
Don't go there.
The 1 o'clock kickoff maybe hurts the alcohol intake and the craziness of the fans, but obviously they're going to be riled up. I'm impressed with the signs we've seen since Deflategate started. A lot of creative signs in regard to Roger Goodell and some other things. So the crowd, as you said, is going to be up. I'm hoping we get some headbutts. We got the first down thing. My favorite Tom Brady is like the crazy Tom Brady, who's just psychotic and yelling at the refs. And that's, I think, he'll perform well. 300 yards, a few touchdowns. And just looking back on Deflategate now that he's back, it's almost like this weird dream. Like, did it happen? Like, years from now, we're going to talk about it. It's, like, at this point, it's not derailing the Patriots at all. The number one pick still hurts, but you see the Patriots in first place. Brady's coming back, playing well, so it's almost like, what was it all for?
I don't care what anybody says. Roger Goodell's legacy will be strongly attached to this, and he will be known as the guy who railroaded the best player in the NFL.
Among other things.
Hey, Roger. That's your legacy, among other things. That's your legacy. You railroaded the NFL's best player, and it was a disgrace. That's your legacy. So let's predict the game.
And an inconsistent grade on sexual assault. And
when he's done, of course.
Other things.
But when he is done as NFL commissioner, his legacy will be he railroaded the best player in the NFL. That's what people are going to remember, Roger. Okay.
That's on the Wikipedia page for sure.
Predict the game.
All right, Pats Bengals. I will pick the Patriots to win by a touchdown. I think it'll be fairly close. The Bengals are 2-3, Mark, but their losses are to all first-place teams. Dallas, they lost to. I'm forgetting who they lost to.
Pittsburgh.
Dallas, Pittsburgh, and Denver. I don't know. Their losses are to some good teams. I think they're going to come in with something to prove, like the Patriots had something to prove 2 years ago onto Cincinnati. That being said, I think the Patriots are the better team. I don't see Cincinnati stopping the offense right now. Gronk didn't practice today, but what we saw with that two-headed tight end monster right now, especially in the goal line, Brady has so many weapons at his disposal. We saw him go long to Chris Hogan, so that deep ball seems to be back. And, I think they can hold A.J. Green in check enough, and what the Bengals do offensively, that team is prone to make some mistakes. We saw their playoff meltdown last year, so I say Patriots 31-24.
There's no way I'm picking a close game in Tom Brady's first game back at Gillette Stadium after suspension, and with the way the Bengals have been playing. Now, yes, they're desperate. They need to get a win, but I just don't think they're very good. So they can be as desperate as they want. If they don't have the skill, if they don't have the coaching to come in here and do it, they're not going to do it. So I'm going to pick a blowout. I'm going to pick 38-17.
Right.
I don't think it'll be close. I think the defense clamps down, and it's not close.
All right. Speaking of Tom Brady, his press conference Wednesday ended with a news reporter asking him, "How would you have children? How do you feel about Donald Trump's locker room talk?" At which point Brady kind of half smiled and walked off the stage. Should he have handled that question differently?
Absolutely not. He handled it perfectly. I don't know what these people who are criticizing him wanted him to say. There's no win. You can't win if you answer that question.
No, you don't win.
There's no way to win that question. He should have done exactly what he did. He was polite. He was smug. He walked away. Didn't touch it. There is no reason to ask that question. And I don't have a problem with him asking the question.
Right.
But Tom Brady answering that question is useless. He's a football player. If there's a rattlesnake on the ground, don't touch it. It does you no good.
Yeah, there's no need for him to address it. Maybe he could have said, hey guys, just talking football, or said something, not just like smiled and like scurried off. I think it's a reasonable question because that's a topic that's out there, and some fellow athletes have said that talk does go on in locker rooms. Also, Brady had the Make America Great Again hat in his locker room a year ago, prior to Trump showing some cards that, do harm to his judgment and his personality. But so I think it's reasonable to ask Brady a Trump question, but there was no point in him answering that, obviously. And maybe he has said, I support my friends, and Donald was a friend. Who's to say Brady is still going to vote for Donald or anything of that nature?
I support all of my friends, but there's some that I would absolutely not vote for president. Please.
All right, let's talk baseball.
All right, Red Sox, obviously disappointing the way they ended the season, getting swept by the Indians. They won the AL East. Was this season a success?
All right, so if you asked me this question back in early April before the year, they win the division, they get into the playoffs, I'd probably take that based on coming off last year, last place. But then you tell me David Price wins 15 games. Rick Porcello's a Cy Young candidate. 3 players, Mookie, Ortiz, and Hanley, hit 30 home runs. A pretty good closer. Pedroia has his best season in 7 or 8 years. You tell me all those things, and then you get swept in the ALDS, it's not a success. So I think from the vantage point of looking at it in April, it was a good year. But as we stand here now, they completely blew that series against an undermanned Cleveland team that just outplayed them in every facet. So I say today it was not a success. Based on the performances of those players, I think they should have made a run in the American League. But if you asked me in April, I said it would have been a good year.
I agree with that. They had the talent. They had it working. They won 11 in a row in September. They seized the American League East. So, yeah, it was a success. But do they feel like it was a success right now? No.
You're not putting up a banner at Fenway, AL East champs.
I liken it to having a round of golf where you shot 82. Great round, but you missed 3 putts within 3 feet. And you could have had 79.
Could have broke 80.
That would have been, I wouldn't leave the golf course being like, well, I shot 82. No.
Yeah.
You blew 3 short putts, which could have given you 79. That's how they feel. They feel disappointed. Yeah, I guess you could chalk it up as a success. We could tell ourselves it was a success, but nobody feels good.
But if you're
right
holding
now.
the Red Sox to the Patriots standard, which is Super Bowl or bust, I mean, this is a team that's won 3 World Series in the last, however many years, 12 years, then ALDS getting swept is a huge disappointment.
It's a huge disappointment. They had the Cy Young Award winner, arguably, and Cleveland was ravaged by injuries. And the MVP on the Red Sox.
I was going to say this. I was at Game 3 Monday in Boston. Up until the 8th inning when they started rallying, I was disappointed with the Fenway crowd. It was a little too quiet.
Okay.
It didn't have that old
certainly wasn't like that
playoff. I know. There was no desperation mode. It was almost like fans kind of knew it was coming.
We could have asked this question had they just lost the ALDS, getting swept.
Yeah, embarrassing.
That's not good.
All right, hockey is back. The Bruins began their season last night. Didn't look good in that first period, and then they score a bunch of goals to win. Beat Columbus. I think it was 6-3, was it?
Yeah.
So, first impressions, because there were so many question marks heading in.
Impressive win. Impressive win to start the year. Down 3-1. You win it 6-3. They score 6 goals. Obviously, Brad Marchand has arrived if he hadn't already. Marchand had 37 goals last year and was excellent in the World Cup of Hockey, where he was playing with the best of the best on Team Canada. He was playing with the first line on Team Canada. This guy is a force. Now, I don't know if I'm going to call him a superstar yet, but he's close and really productive, as we saw last night. So I'm still concerned about their defense. I'm still concerned about their goalie. Tuukka Rask is good. It's sort of like having David Price all the time. He's good, but when it comes down to actually getting it done, can he get it done? He has a shoddy postseason resume, so we'll have to wait and see. Their defensemen, their top 4 defensemen wouldn't be in half the NHL's top 4. I don't know if I buy them. I don't buy their defense. We'll see. Good start.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice win because they were a couple goals down and rallied back. As you said, Marchand had an unbelievable game, 5 points, and he looked great at the World Cup of Hockey. And that last goal where he kind of did the self-pass around the defender, unbelievable. They did it without Bergeron, which was impressive. And Backes looks good, right? He stood in front of the net and air deflected a goal in. So good start, but who's to say if this will continue? I mean, we don't know. There's a lot of new guys, some young guys. As you said, the back lines aren't great. So we'll see. Look good. I think you leave the other feeling good about the Bruins.
They've had so many offensive struggles over the years. See 6 goals, you never complain with that, but they got to be able to stop.
What people are saying is Backes has a little personality. He's vocal. He can maybe assume some of that leadership role because some of those guys, like Bergeron, they're not as talkative. Chara, they're leaders by example. So maybe he can shake things up there.
Keeping the puck out of the net. All right, college basketball, hockey. I can't believe we're talking about all this, but PC, URI, their Midnight Madnesses are this weekend. Which team, we've seen a lot of PC domination in this series recently. Which team will be better this year?
All right, I think this is a fairly easy call. It's URI. Obviously, PC loses Chris Dunn, number 5 overall pick, Ben Bentel to the Celtics. So a lot of question marks for the Friars. I was down at URI yesterday. This team is big. It's deep. Unlike a couple years ago when they really didn't have any depth and injuries derailed their season, they have a lot of good players. Martin and Matthews coming back from the ACL injury, feel like they've been with the team forever. They're both seniors. Matthews, a redshirt junior. Jarvis Garrett, Jared Terrell, they're deep. They got the transfer kid from IU. So URI is going to be good. I predicted that this will be the year they make the tournament. We thought that last year, then EC goes down week 1. I think PC will be in the mix. They were picked 9th in the Big East, but every year PC loses someone, whether it's Bryce Cotton or LaDante Henton, and they always come back the next year. I think they'll be in the mix in the Big East, knocking on the door for a bid, maybe in the bubble in March, but URI is the answer.
URI is the answer. I'm concerned about PC mainly because of what I've heard from Ed Cooley.
He wants to lower the expectations.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's playing some games. He doesn't sound all that confident, like he really loves what he has, and it's hard to blame him when you lose these guys that they've lost over the last few years. But, yeah, I don't know what to expect from Providence. We'll see.
I think Cartwright will be good. He's going to have a breakout year.
He's a good player. But URI, we're all excited. I mean, we felt horrible for EC last year.
Yeah.
And that team was good last year. Now they're ready to rock.
I will say this. URI has to beat PC this year.
They have
gone.
To.
I mean, Hurley has yet to beat Cooley in this matchup. And it's at the Dunk this year, but that has to get done.
That has to happen this year.
Last year, unbelievable game. It's every year at our Christmas party we were watching it.
It's nice to have the expectations as high as they are because we'll come on this show and rip URI if they can't make the tournament this year. We'll see what happens in injuries.
And Hurley, I think he knows what he has. He's optimistic, but almost cautiously optimistic because last year they had similar type buzz in one
I don't want to see Mopey Dan this year. I want all upbeat.
All right, our final question. Speaking of the Midnight Madness, tomorrow night, Shaq is performing as DJ Diesel at PC Madness. I don't know, he may rap, he may spin some records. He was a rapper once. He appeared in movies. How do you grade Shaq as an entertainer? Back in the 90s, he did it all.
Shaq is an A++ entertainer.
A++.
He is as good as it gets. Number 1, basketball superstar, basketball royalty. He was a joy to watch play basketball, dominant, the body, all that. He could rap, and he was in movies. He's great on TV. He's loose, he's funny, he's witty, he's creative. He is awesome. He's an American treasure, and I love watching him. Now, I will say this. There are better rappers than Shaq in terms of athletes. He never had a song that was as good as what Kobe Bryant had as a rapper.
Kobe, don't give me that.
And let me tell you this.
Kobe, how's my blank taste?
No. That's Shaq. That was freestyling. Let me tell you this. You know the best song by a basketball player, rapper I've ever heard? Legit. It's called Last Night by Allen Iverson. Look it up, YouTube it. It is
Wasn't his rapper named Jules?
Jules. But he was that song Last Night is a great song. And Shaq never had a song nearly as
good rapper, but he's got the deep voice.
It was just fun that he was doing it.
A song I liked of his, I Know I Got Skills. Yeah, that was good.
No
and
hooks.
Kazam, his movies, they weren't great, but at the time in the 90s when we were, 10 years old, whatever we were, we loved
Blue
Shaq.
Chips.
He was in movies, he had his shoe, Pepsi commercials, he was huge. If only he had won with the Magic.
He took down the backboard.
He is really entertaining, and someone of his size, too, it's just funny. he's so tall. Like, you're going to stand next to him tomorrow, and it's going to be comical.
You know what was great about him, too? He could be funny. He could be, charming, all that. But he was also a killer on the court.
Yeah.
He could put the game face on. When he didn't like what the Magic were offering him, all business, he went to L.A.
I will say this. The knock on Shaq is that he didn't do enough. He was so gifted naturally that he didn't really work hard in the gym, let's say, or in the offseason because he knew he didn't have to. He just put his rear end in the guy and dunk it. But, Shaq's great. What are you going to ask him tomorrow?
I'll probably ask him what, if they had Midnight Madness at LSU, who he would have wanted to see perform. I don't know, something like that.
At his time, so he got drafted 92, maybe like MC Hammer.
Vanilla, I don't know.
Vanilla Ice, yeah.
Madonna.
Blue Chips, good movie.
Yeah, I don't remember.
He was in it. Penny was in it.
Okay.
Nick Nolte.
Was Penny, I think if I remember correctly, from that 30 for 30.
Yeah.
Wasn't that movie the reason the Magic drafted Penny? They got to know each other,
Yeah,
and
Shaq
then
liked him.
He kind of.
You wonder
vouched
if he
for
and
him.
Weber could have coexisted.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. But he didn't. I don't think they wanted that. They were the same. Both big men.
They were both big men. Back when big men were relevant.
Yeah.
All right, that'll wrap things up. We got a busy Friday. We got to go do our high school football thing. So catch the full episode on WPRI.com. We'll try to tweet out some of these topics, and we'll see you next week on Double OT.